Hello everyone, welcome to the Everything Old Information and Entrepreneur Center, where we are doing our fourth Facebook Live segment of Entrepreneur Tips. My name is Ashley and I am joined once again by Mitch Thompson, the Executive Director of the Olds Institute. And today we are doing part 2 of our segment on the business model canvas. So if you missed out on part 1, we invite you to go to our Everything Olds Facebook page and check it out. And then you can also see the PDF file of the business model canvas if you'd like to follow along. So today we are going to do an example of what it would be like in kind of a real world scenario and application.
Okay, so Ashley, thank you again for hosting today. As we talked the last time, we talked about those 9 building blocks that make up a business model canvas. And again, a business model canvas is a quick visual, and it doesn't have to be quick, but a visual representation of a business plan. Okay, so as we go forward today, we're going to talk a little bit about creating one of those. What kind of business would you like to create today?
So if I was interested in starting up, say, a marketing agency here in Olds, how would I use the business model canvas to figure out my plan for that?
Okay, so great topic. So as a marketing agency in the community, the nice thing about the business model canvas is it is customer centered. Okay, so if you're opening a marketing agency, let's start talking about who your customers are. Okay. So as an agency, people sometimes start by thinking, what are they going to serve or provide? And, they have these rose-colored glasses about having the best something, right? Mm-hmm. But if we start from the customer point of view, who is it that we're going to serve and what their needs are, we'll probably have a better product. So up in the top corner of our business model canvas, we'll start by talking about our customers. Who do you think you would serve as a marketing agency?
Well, here in the community, I guess it could be businesses, maybe some nonprofits, maybe some community or town organizations.
Okay, so in the business model canvas, right? Those are all different customer segments, right? They might be, as you say, the government organization. They might be business or nonprofit. But some of our marketing agencies out there actually have a different type of customer as well. If you consider our local newspaper, they have all these organizations that do advertising, but on the other side, they've also got a subscriber. Okay, so they may have a customer who is a subscriber, and that could be the same whether they're a traditional newspaper or somebody who's listening to them on the radio or purchasing their product on TV or even using social media.
Right.
Okay. So as a marketing agent, okay, what kinds of pains do you think pardon me, I won't say pains, the customer that you're serving, right? They're coming to you for a reason, right? What do they do in their day-to-day? Why do they need your service? What is it that they want from you? Let's talk about business.
Well, I think, a lot of businesses, they get busy doing, handling the customer service and kind of that front end side of things, and they maybe don't have the time or perhaps even the expertise and know-how to be able to do that marketing, especially the way that social media has exploded these last couple years.
Absolutely. So one of the value or some of the value propositions that you would bring to the marketplace to support your customer is, of course, that expertise, right? And availability is also another one, right? Mm-hmm. You mentioned that a business may not have, the knowledge to do these things, but they may not have the available staff to do it as well. Mm-hmm. And so as a marketing agent, you would bring that knowledge and talent, but you'd also be available to them when they needed you. That would be very important as a value proposition. Other types of value propositions could be costs. You're cost effective. You might be specialized. You may just be you may be influential, right? You might, as a marketing agency, you could be a newspaper, absolutely, or you could be a specialized magazine that advocates for a certain type of cause or brings together a certain type of audience. And so those are all value propositions to your customer base and help define the type of business and service that you provide. Now, if you're trying to work with business, how would you reach your business? How would you provide this value proposition to this customer? Right? How are you going to connect with them?
I think as a marketing agency, it would be important to be able to reach out to them through channels that they are already following, and maybe some additional ones like social media, even that kind of face-to-face know-how if you're capable of doing that.
Absolutely. So a customer channel could be a newsletter, right? It could be a blog, right? It could be just through telephone, right? But those are all channels or methods that you would use to reach out to your customer. And when you talk about connecting with your customer, the customer relationship is always key, right? And so in the nonprofit space or the business space, you may have a different type of relationship than you do with the government. So, for example, you might be an advocate, right? Mm-hmm. Or a lobbyist. And again, you might do that through a newsletter or a blog or through a conversation. But you might do that in person. You might do that through some form of agency as well, right? And again, as a marketing agency, you are an agency. Mm-hmm. But in the agency form, you might be connecting with your customer through staff, right? And that might be through some form of broker, mm-hmm. or if you were in a marketing, manufacturing type of sense, you might be meeting through a sales agency or something else, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're producing the National Post, you might actually be getting to your customer through a retail offering, right? And so there are many different types of relationships that you can maintain with your customer. Mm-hmm. And again, there's many different types of channels that you'll use to connect with your customer. But the more you know about your customer, the better off you'll be to provide, that product or service that they really need from you, right? Right. Now, again, talking about being customer focused, right? Mm-hmm. If we went back and we started looking at your customers a little bit further, right? Mm-hmm. Your business might be mom and pop. It might be a small business, right? Mm-hmm. It might be a Fortune 500 business with all kinds of layers, right? So your customer, even in that sense, is different, mm-hmm. right? How they interact with you is maybe different. Your nonprofit may be the same, right? Mm-hmm. It may be a very grassroots up type of an organization, mm-hmm. or there could be all kinds of layers and complexity to that. And so in each of those areas, the better you define your customer, the better you'll be able to define the value proposition, mm-hmm. to find the right channel to communicate with them, to create the best relationship for you to move forward in a successful way. So that's all good. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the types of things that you're going to do to make some money. Okay. Mm-hmm. So as a marketing agency, what types of services might you provide to your customer base?
I think be social media and kind of awareness campaigns. Okay. To an extent. For the more subscriber base, it could be news, or maybe outsourcing some community activities, involvement, individuals. Okay.
So let's dive in there, right? So you're talking about different types of campaigns, and so as a key activity in a marketing agency, I mean, you've got content creation, right? Mm-hmm. And so in a social media campaign, that's the development of a campaign, but again, you have to create the content, right? Mm-hmm. Or capture the content, either way. The key activities of your business may be very marketing related, but there are also things that aren't so much, right? Like who's doing the bookkeeping, right? And how are you creating sales, right? Those are also other forms of key activities within a business. How are you managing your staff? Your ability to do all of those different tasks are very important as you consider the types of activities that are going to bring, again, value to your customer. It's hard to create a social media campaign for a customer if you can't reach them.
Right.
Or if you aren't able to pay the bills because you don't have a good bookkeeper, those types of things.
Yeah.
So what are the types of resources that you think might be important to a marketing agency when they're getting off the ground and operating? Have you considered some of those things?
Well, I think you need to have sort of a platform that you can operate off of, whether it's a website or a office or whatnot, and the technology and ability to create some of this content.
Right. And so some of the processes and systems that you create, right? Whether it be that bookkeeping or financial system, whether it be that staff person who creates either the video content or the graphic artist. I mean, your people are your resource, your systems are your resource, your facility might be. Absolutely. So all of those are different examples of key resources that may be important to your marketing company. A website, publication that's got a following, all of those things would fit in this category as well. A marketing agency, though, may also have some other types of partnerships. Okay, so a key partner to a newspaper might be that retail chain that takes all of their newspapers, right? A key partner to a nonprofit in this marketing space, right, might be an association. So again, in the newspaper form, it might be the retail. In a nonprofit, it might be an association of nonprofits, right? And the reason that I use these examples is when you're trying to market to the nonprofit sector, right, do you want to go to each and every one of those businesses individually, or would you like to reach out through, say, a community foundation to all of them, or through United Way to all of them, right? And so a key partner, say United Way, is providing you with a recommendation to all these groups. They can help leverage your credibility that gets you in front of your customer quicker so that you can start delivering on those key activities, right? And so there can be many different types of partners, but they're all there to help you leverage what it is that you do. Expenses, so income and revenue and expenses, the dollars you put out. When people set up their business plans, they often have an idea that, so-and-so's already doing this and they're making a killing, right?
Yeah.
So they're making all this money and they might do, A, B, and C things, right? And so when we build a business model canvas, we always have them define what A is and then determine how much revenue they think they're going to get from that area. So for doing service A, it might be 10%. For service B, it might be 50%. And there might be a few others, and eventually they all get to that 100% range, right?
Right.
On the expense side, we have them do the exact same thing, right? List a bunch of things and then the percentage that they expect to get from that, that they expect to pay for the service they provide, right? The cost of goods or the rent or the staffing cost, right? All of those things. So in this section, if bookkeeping is a key activity and we've identified it as having a cost of 5%, that's great. The nice thing about the business model canvas is when you look at it and you get your financials and you say, okay, hey, I thought my bookkeeping was going to cost me 5%. It's costing me 25%. How come? Is there something I'm doing in the rest of what I do that's creating extra work for the bookkeeper? Am I too complicated or not enough? Is it because I have a huge number of sales and my sales exploding, and so my bookkeeper's doing a lot more transactions? Well, that's a good challenge, right?
Right.
Now, if that's the case, wonderful, but as long as your other key activities are coming in with the right expenses, right?
Right.
And so the nice thing about a business model canvas like this is you can see how things come together. So if we looked at things and we said, okay, we're going to spend 40%, it's going to cost us 40% of our revenue as an expense for social media marketing. So this is Google AdWords and Facebook and all the stuff that we want, right? And we think it's going to cost us 40%, and it comes in at 40%. That's great. Okay. But again, if it's only bringing in 10% of our revenue,
right.
We've got some kind of misalignment there.
Right.
And so again, the business model canvas is developed so that you can see these things on a single page. Now, we didn't take our value proposition and go very far. We could do a whole course just on value proposition. So looking at this, you might say that my value proposition as a marketing agency is that I bring a unique level of expertise to my customer base. We're always reliable, we're very cost effective, and again, it's unique, it's specialized. So a good value proposition should be something that you can say in a single one-word sentence. We're the most unique. We have let's go back. So we have a talented group of people that provide unique services in a cost-effective way, and we're always on, right? So for the business owner, for the nonprofit, for the government, if they're looking for somebody with that skill set, they're more likely to use us. Now, if we're not so unique that they can't live without us, they might be able to get it from anywhere, and that's a challenge.
Right.
So understanding your customer base, defining your value proposition in a way that they can't live without you is important. And then, of course, refining all of these elements as you go forward. Reaching out to people to ask them for feedback, so you're not just developing a business plan based on your perception, but on the knowledge and fact of what your customer wants and what they're willing to pay. Those are critical elements to a business model canvas. So, what do you think, Ashley? What kinds of things should we be? Is there an area in here that we need to explore further, to evaluate? What's your perspective?
I think this is great. I think it, reminds me, it's a way to keep organized, and that, I had thought through, lots about the customers and even the value proposition, but I maybe didn't realize, the key partners and resources and how they can be beneficial to this type of thing. So yeah, I think this is great.
Absolutely. So again, the whole program, although we've tried to do it very quickly here for the live stream, there are relationships between the resources that we use and the activities that we undertake.
Right.
The expense that is derived from using those resources and creating those activities, in the revenue that we can bring into the business. Again, that has to tie right back to our value proposition and our customer need in order for us to make a dollar. And we have to be communicating it in such a way as for our audience, our customer, to know we provide that service and our value to them. And so all of these things play a role in business development, and a business's ability to look quickly and say, hey, I'm a little off here, or I need to put a little more time in there. Is really helpful. And so the business model canvas is just one tool that can help a business quickly reflect on what it's doing, what it wants to do, and whether it's on track or not. So
I think that's great. So how can our watchers or anyone who's interested access the business model canvas and use it for their own business and tweak it to their own preferences and needs?
So a free preview of the business model generation book is actually online. And just by going to Google and typing in business model generation, you can download a free preview. The business model canvas that it's based upon, we've got the link in our comment section here today, so people can go to that. Anybody who wants to come down and chat with us at the Everything Olds Information and Entrepreneurship Office is welcome to make an appointment to come on in. We're happy to spend some time to help people either explore opportunities to develop business or look at ways to help them scale up or grow.
Okay, so you're able to provide some of that feedback that you were saying is, so important for the entrepreneur or businesses that would be interested in this.
Absolutely. So in our space, we're here to help support business growth in the community. It's local economic development. How do we make business successful, entrepreneurship a relevant path with a rewarding future for people? And so we're here to support.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Mitch. I think that's everything I have today, and thank you all for watching. Once again, if you do want to find out more, you can check out our previous live streams or the links that we've posted in the comments section, or come down and say hi at the Everything Olds office, which is here in Olds, just west of the post office.
Thanks much.